What's going on, guys? Today I am starting work on this Subaru behind me, and as you can kind of see, it's not your normal Subaru. It's super dope. I didn't do a lot of the work that's on it right now, but I'm still going to show you it because it's beautiful. So I'll show you what I'm doing, and before that, I will show you what's already been done, which is sick. Check it out. All right, so as you can see, we have a 2JZ. Don't know if it's I think it's 2JZ GTE. Either way, doesn't really matter. Got ball bearing billet turbo, a titanium wastegate dump going out the hood, which dumps out right there. And tube front tubs, all this, pretty dope. It's got tubular front subframe that you can kind of see in there. You can kind of see that down in there. It's got 2015 STI front steering rack, bagged up front, not bagged in the rear right now because that's what I'm working with, and a ton of custom work, as you can see. It's really dope. And now what I'll be doing is inside here, you got all this rust right here, which is really nasty. So I'm going to cut the rear strut towers out and sort of replace them, make them look like the front, or somewhat like the front. So that's one thing. And then I'm also going to be doing a roll cage, or like a roll bar with a ton of X braces. So main one, one on the rears, and then one from there and there. So a lot of X braces. Everything's else got that dope ass Nardi steering wheel. So trying to convince this dude to bring this car to SEMA with us next year. So we will see about that. But let's get to work. Alright, so I got the jig all welded in place. I got these guys right here, which provide front to back stability. These two bars provide left, right, and up and down. And then just triangulating it a bit to get everything nice and stout. And now I can cut away at the Sharpie lines and build back up from there. Alright, so there is the old piece, and here's a giant hole in the car. Once I got in here, I did find, here, let me give you a little extra light. Yeah, I did find some rust there, which is no fun. So I'm going to cut even further. I'm going to cut that area out, and hopefully we can get rid of all this, and hopefully there's not more junk inside of here, because that'll be a huge pain. Alright, so I got this area cut out and cleaned up, and then sprayed it with, oh, I already threw it away. I sprayed it with weld-through primer, so it won't rust again, hopefully, for a little while. Then same thing with this piece, which gets welded in. I sprayed it both sides, which you shouldn't do, so I got to clean this side up. But it'll get welded in, and that will be sealed, and then I can start working on the strut tower. And then once that one's all tacked up in place, then I will cut this side out and work on that, just to kind of help with the bracing and everything, since that one's holding stuff in place already. Alright, so I got a few pieces welded in. This main top piece, and then I added this little triangle guy just to fill it in a little bit better. And then I got this vertical piece, which is also 1/8 inch. All this is 1/8 inch, by the way. And then I don't have thinner material, which is going to be probably 14 or 16 gauge to build the rest of it. So I am going to take a little break and get back to this in a couple of days. Also, don't get coolant in your eye.
Yeah, that hurt.
You'll end up like Corey.
Ow. I need a ambulance.
Oh.
How that burns.
Alright, so I finished this side up without you guys, and I'm sorry. But, well, I didn't totally finish this side. But, I'm going to start working on this side, and I will keep you guys along for some more of it that I missed on this side. But you'd see just a couple sheet metal parts. I found found a little bit of sheet metal that I'm using. It is probably 18 gauge, maybe 16 gauge. Just using some cardboard templates. Using some cardboard cereal box templates. Filling it in, rounding this edge, just to make it look a little smoother and cleaner. An 1/8 inch plate here, 1/8 inch plate up top. I had to make this little triangle separately, which isn't perfect, but I will fix that for this side. Then we got some 1/8 inch plate right here on the front, which is going to tie into the cage. And then this is just the thin sheet metal as well. Tubbed it in, gives it a little bit more wheel clearance, and gets rid of all that nasty rust. So, now we're going to cut this side out, and then first things first, we're going to start with one of these plates, and then one of these plates. We're still going at this thing. It's taking a little while, doing a bunch of other stuff around the shop, but got this bar in there, and that's going to be the bottom of the X brace. I decided to do this just because it's fancy. See if we can focus a little bit for you. There we go. So yeah, decided to do it like this, and then I'm going to take my angle grinder, chop the top of that off, and then do the same thing with another one on the top. So it'll go boop, boop, and it'll look hot. And then I can get rid of all this stuff and start working on the main part of the cage. Alright, so now I got the X-brace tacked in place. I only had to notch the lower bar, and then the upper bar kind of fit in there, which is good. It kind of gives me a little bit more strength. So now I can work on cutting all the junk out, and you know, it'll kind of look like something. Then I got to put the headliner in there to fit up the main hoop for the roll cage, and start working on that. Alright, so I bent up the main hoop, and then I cut this diagonal bar. Both of these are also 1.5" by 120 wall. Well, those aren't. Those are 1.5" by 0.95 because those are non-critical and non-required by SCCA rules. But these both are, so we're going 1.5" by 120. And then we're going to do another X, and then we're going to do a harness bar. So here we have the main diagonal, and then the X part is obviously going to be in 2 pieces. And then I'm going to make this bar next, and then we're going to work on the harness bar, and then this bar is good. We can tack this bar in place and then start working on the rear strut bars, which go from there to the rear strut tower. And then there will also be an X on that one. And that big X will be similar. It'll be styled like this, which doesn't pass any rules, but it doesn't have to because those bars are non-required. And then also this bar is 0.95, and so is this one, just to save a little weight, and because, again, it's not required. The harness bar will be 120 wall. Alright, so I got this bar just tacked in place now. If you see down here, these are CNC cut pieces and folded on that edge and that edge. And then it'll get welded all down that seam and on the bottom and stuff. And the reason I did that was because it just kind of gives it a cleaner look being folded and not welded, and it's also stronger. And then I got this bar tacked in, and that is the rear strut. And then I got one more ready to tack in place, but I'm just leaving it out to make it easier to get in and out of the car for now. So once I do what I need to do, then I will finish welding that up and work on the X brace.
Sideways Fab fun fact of the day.
What is
I
it?
was going to say something, but it's very inappropriate. So instead, I'll just tell you, Matt used to have a couple pet raccoons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what? Kundra, Clamar,
Kendrick Lamar.
JF Coonity.
Yep, John F. Coonity and Rocky
Yeah.
Raccoon. Yeah, those are my boys. All right, so good news. We got approved for a couple more things on this project.
Woohoo!
Oh God, my microphone fell off.
Sorry.
Got too excited.
It's like a YouTube filming factory.
I know.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the only one that's not filming YouTube videos.
Yeah, Corey, where's your channel?
I don't have a channel. I could start one.
You should. Yeah. They love you.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Do I actually have fans on a YouTube channel?
Yeah. They, what? Yeah, they said happy birthday to you and shit.
Oh yeah, that's right. They were doing.
So yeah. Anyways, we're gonna cut out the trunk floor and install a fuel cell, and I think make a cover for it. So that'll be cool, fun stuff. And then we are installing this Chase Bay's brake master cylinder. Let's see. Boom. So the hard line will come down off of that and then in there. And then we're going to run all the brake lines under the firewall. So that will be the only visible brake line there. And then the stuff going to the front wheels will be under the dash. Everything will be hidden in there, along with the adjustable proportioning valve right there. That guy. I'm gonna cut the trunk floor out, and that'll be the last of this video. And then next we'll finish up the cage and do all the other fancy stuff. So let's get it done. And here is the initial rough cut. So we're gonna throw some bars from left to right, boom, boom, and then a couple front to back. The fuel cell is gonna be shifted as far this way as possible, just so we have room for the exhaust and stuff to come through about right there. And then any other goodies he wants to hide under this plate, which will be removable, that he can unbolt and get access to, you know, whatever's in there. And this here is what the somewhat finished product is going to be. Basically ground down all the welds so that everything smooths nicely. Minimal body filler. I still need to grind these edges, which are going to be a bit of a bitch. And then I made this piece, which sits right in there. And it gives him an access for his fuel filler neck, which is going to be coming from the fuel cell right in here, coming up, and boom. And it'll give a nice sealing surface to keep the tire smoke out of the car, assuming there's going to be tire smoke, because there should be tire smoke in all cars. But yeah, it'll look pretty dope, I think. Just a little CNC cut piece and a little bit of exhaust tubing, and ground down the welds to make it all look pretty and clean like all of it, and then just weld that in place. And that is all for this video on the Subaru. I'm gonna still be working on it, so we're gonna go right back into the brake lines first, and then whenever the fuel cell arrives from Nuke Performance, then we'll start mounting that up and also finishing up the cage before then. Thanks for watching.